Kichka's death changed how the city of Virata looked at Draupadi. Fear crept into the whispers about her. This woman, so beautiful, she captures every heart, is as dangerous as she is lovely. For jealous Gandharvas guard her, and Gandharvas in a rage may stop at nothing. She is a peril to the whole city. She must be sent away, anxious for their safety. The citizens went to Queen Sudeshna and begged her to expel Draupadi from the city. And Sudeshna, who had good reason to fear those Gandharvas herself now, passed the request on. "You are a virtuous lady, no doubt," she told Draupadi, "but kindly leave our city. I have had enough of you." But only 1 month remained of the whole 13 years, and Draupadi could not leave now. She begged earnestly to stay just 1 more month, by which time, she said, her Gandharva husbands would have accomplished their aims and would take her away with them. Deeply grateful to Virata's kingdom, it was so nearly over. 1 month stood between the Pandavas and freedom, grateful or not. The Gandharvas could clearly be deadly when crossed, and Sudeshna was far too frightened of Draupadi to refuse her anything now. So she agreed. 1 more month. The heavy air of fear stayed in the palace, but the danger of expulsion passed. And far away, another danger was sharpening toward Matsya. For all through the 13th year, Duryodhan's spies had scoured the land for the Pandavas on his express orders and found nothing. After months of futile searching, they reported failure and guessed the Pandavas had simply perished of hardship somewhere in the wild. Duryodhan almost let himself believe it. And then a piece of news came that reopened everything. Word spread that the mighty Kichaka had been killed in single combat by some Gandharva over a woman. And Duryodhan's mind, sharp when it came to his enemies, began to work. Only 2 men in the world could have killed Kichaka barehanded, and one of them was Bhima. What if the Gandharva was Bhima and the woman was Draupadi? He voiced his suspicion in open assembly. "I believe the Pandavas are hiding in Virata's city," he said. "And Virata is one of those stiff-necked kings who scorn our friendship. So here is my plan. Let us invade Matsya and carry off his cattle. If the Pandavas are there, they will surely come out to fight and repay Virata's hospitality, and we will spot them. And if we find them before the 13th year is complete," Duryodhan went on, "they must go back to the forest for another 12 years. And if they are not there at all, we have lost nothing." It was a scheme that could only win. King Susarma of Trigarta, an old enemy of Virata's, whom Kichaka had long troubled, leapt to support it. "With Kichaka dead, Matsya is weak. Let me attack." Karna seconded it, and they laid a two-pronged plan. Susarma would strike Matsya from the south, drawing Virata's army down to defend that border, and then Duryodhan and the Kaurava army would fall on the north, which would be left almost undefended. It was a good plan, and it very nearly worked. It was undone only because it walked into a city that secretly housed 5 of the greatest warriors alive. Susarma struck first. His forces swept into southern Matsya, seizing the cattle and laying waste the fields and gardens as they came. The cowherds fled in distress to King Virata, and the old king, watching his land plundered, found himself wishing bitterly that Kichaka was still alive, for Kichaka would have made short work of these raiders. And when Virata said as much aloud, the courtier Kanka, Yudhishthira in disguise, spoke up. "Do not be troubled, O king. Hermit though I am, I know the arts of war. Give me armor and a chariot and I will drive off your enemies. And let your housekeeper, your cook, and your cowherd ride out with me. I have heard they are great fighters too." It was the disguised Pandavas, quietly offering to defend the kingdom that sheltered them. Delighted, Virata gave them chariots and weapons at once. and all the Pandavas but Arjuna rode out with the Matsya army to meet Susarma. Arjuna, whose disguise as a woman could not so easily be set aside, stayed behind in the palace. Four brothers went to war dressed as a hermit, a cook, a groom, and a cowherd, and the enemy had no idea what was coming. A fierce fight broke out between the armies of Matsya and Trigarta, with heavy loss on both sides. Susarma pressed hard, drove at Virata directly, surrounded his chariot, and forced the old king down to fight on foot, and then seized him and held him captive in his own chariot. With their king taken, the Matsya soldiers lost heart and began to scatter in every direction. Yudhishthira turned to Bhima. "Go, free the king, rally the men." Bhima's hand went straight for a tree to uproot, and Yudhishthira caught him. "No such tricks," he warned, "and no war cry, or you give us all away. Fight like any other soldier from the chariot with your bow." It was a hard leash on a lion, but Bhima obeyed. So Bhima fought from the chariot with the bow, hiding his true strength behind ordinary arms, and it was still more than enough. He cut through to Susarma, set Virata free, and took Susarma himself captive. The scattered Matsya forces, seeing their king rescued and the enemy commander seized, rallied into fresh formations, charged, and drove the army of Trigarta from the field. News of the victory raced back to the city, and the people erupted in joy. They hung the streets with flowers and streamed out to welcome their triumphant king home. The southern danger was beaten, Virata was safe, and Matsya rejoiced. And precisely then, while every eye was turned south in celebration, the second half of Duryodhan's plan came thundering down from the north. The great Kaurava army poured across the northern border and began rounding up the countless cattle of the outlying ranches. The real prize and the real trap. The king and his army were far away to the south. The city lay almost undefended, and the herds of Matsya were being driven off before anyone could stop it. The chief of the cowherds raced to the palace. But the king was gone, and only his young son remained. "O prince," he cried to Uttara, "the Kauravas are marching on us and robbing our cows, and your father has gone south against the Trigartas. There is no one to protect us. You are the king's son. We look to you. Come, recover the cows for the honor of your house." And Uttara, flushed with valor in front of the palace women, boasted grandly. "Only give me a charioteer," he cried, "and I will recover the cows single-handed. My feats of arms will be worth seeing. People will learn there is little to choose between Arjuna and myself." It was a magnificent boast, and in the inner apartments, Draupadi, who knew exactly where the real Arjuna was, must have laughed quietly to herself. And Draupadi saw her chance. She slipped to Princess Uttara and spoke of the danger and of a solution. "Great peril has come, princess. The prince needs a charioteer, and should so small a thing stand between him and glory? I tell you, the dance teacher Brihannala was once Arjuna's own charioteer. I heard it in the Pandavas' court, and I know he learned archery from Arjuna himself. Order Brihannala to drive the prince." It was, of course, exactly true, and exactly a trap for the Kauravas. So Brihannala was summoned and put on a delightful performance. Arjuna, the greatest warrior alive, pretended to be baffled by the armor, fumbling with it so comically that the palace women burst out laughing at his clumsiness. "Do not be afraid," they teased him. "Uttara will look after you." He played the timid dance master to perfection, and no one in that room dreamed who was underneath. But when Brihannala went to harness the horses, the mask slipped, just for those who knew to look. The clumsiness vanished, the hands were sure and expert, and the horses, feeling a master on the reins, seemed to love and obey him at once. The fumbling dance teacher, who could barely wear armor, turned out to handle a war chariot's team like a man born to it. The prince will be victorious. Brihannala called back to the palace women as he took up the reins. We will strip the enemy of their fine embroidered robes and bring them to you as the prize of victory. And the chariot leapt forward, bearing the boastful young prince and his mysterious dance master charioteer out through the city gates and north, toward the massed army of the Kauravas. So the last trap of the exile was set, but it had caught the wrong prey. Duryodhan had come to flush out the Pandavas by raiding cattle, gambling that they would break cover to defend their host. He was about to get his wish, and far more than he bargained for. Because the timid dance teacher driving that single chariot toward his vast army was Arjuna, master of the Gandharva, fresh from heaven with the weapons of the gods. The boy Uttara did not know it yet. The Kauravas did not know it yet. But the disguise of the 13th year was about to end in thunder.